What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Onney, the CEO, and I'm back with another week, another fire segment of Conversations with a King. And I am too excited about tonight's segment. The man I have on the couch with me, I have been listening to him, I've been watching him. He has such an eloquent way of putting you right in your place. So I need you guys to buckle up your seatbelts because you're now plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box. Thank you for joining us this week. Now, tonight's segment is going to be a very transparent segment. I know that in the past, kings have not felt like they had a place that they could be completely vulnerable, completely transparent, but Outside the Box is changing that dynamic. Tonight, I have Earl on the show with me to help shed some light on some controversial topics. I want everyone to give it up for Earl. Thank you for coming on the show.
Good to be here.
Man, I don't even think you know that you should have your own show.
I've been told plenty of times. It just took me a little minute before I kind of started getting a little acclimated with even much doing.
Social media.
Yeah, and so people be a little shocked. They be like, but you be on Instagram and this and that. And I tell them, I say, but why you think it's always just me?
Yeah.
You know, I don't like being the center of attention. I don't want to be seen. Like, I don't want people looking at me. It just makes me feel a little awkward.
I had to get past that.
Yeah. So
know?
even with public speaking, you know what I'm saying? I don't mind talking to people, especially if I'm comfortable in that setting, but just a group of new people or something. Yeah. Like, nah, I don't want to be.
You kind of like just sit back and observe, pay attention to
what's going on. Yeah, I just play the back and I'm cool.
See how the room moves.
Yeah, I'm cool.
So I'm getting to know who you are because I can't say I know you personally. Like some of the other guests on the show, I've had the opportunity to get to know them in some type of dynamic. As for, I'm more of a fan. Yeah. I'm just going to be honest with you. Tell the world, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the way you communicate. And so for those that don't know who you are, that may need to know who you are, I think that it will do them some good to go press play. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Earl, of course. I just get on Instagram and I just be transparent as I can. So nothing about it is fake or scripted. So it's just like sometimes I might say something that somebody can relate to on relationship side, and sometimes I might say something that's just comical that they can relate to. But I tell people I have like 13 personalities, so it's you get what you get on that day. You know what I'm saying? But
how do you manage all those voices in your head?
I think today it calls for whoever's on deck.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever today is, that's who driving the car. But at the same time, I think we coexist pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? We have our.
Now him talking about himself in third person.
Yeah, I do. I think we coexist pretty cool. You know, sometimes we have arguments. You know, we don't like what the other one is talking about. But at the same time, man, I think it's a balance. It's a balance, you know.
Now, are you married?
No, ma'am.
You're not married?
Never been married.
He ain't married, y'all.
But I'm not opposed to it.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about that?
I'm not opposed to it.
So you never been married?
Never been married, never been engaged and everything. But I want that. A lot of people be in love with the idea
of love.
Of it. You know, they want the honeymoon, but they don't want the marriage. And so when things get rough and they try to navigate through it, they can't. Some because they haven't saw it. We talk about absent fathers and stuff when we always talk about the men, but we never really talk about how it affects the women.
Right.
Even outside of marriage, just seeing the dynamics of a mom who work and know what being submissive is, and when you kick that word around, especially in this pro-woman era, they
people get in their feelings.
I'm not no doormat and it's not slavery and all of that. Well, that's your definition of it. That's how it's presented to you. I'm not here to argue with you about that. But my definition of submissive is just a woman who know how to let a man lead when he know how to lead now. You know what I'm saying? And she willingly relinquishes certain final say-sos about some things, even if it's with parenting.
But that comes with a level of awareness as well that a lot of people are just not equipped with.
Yeah.
You know, because I think what has happened is women, it's not that they don't naturally want to find a man to let lead.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is their pickle was broke.
Mm-hmm.
They've already picked men that could not lead.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're projecting that inability on all men because they picked some sorry ass men.
I made a video
You know?
a couple of weeks ago or something. I was saying, like, I don't want to have to deal with a woman who hadn't either went and processed some of her trauma or learned some coping mechanisms with it. I don't want to have to live through that. I don't want to have to walk on eggshells about something that I didn't even do.
Right.
You know, I'm living down some things that some guy that came before me done messed you up, daddy issues, mama issues, or whatever you have. And I'm not saying you're going to be totally healed to a certain degree when I deal with you, but at the same time, I have PTSD.
Yes.
So I don't need yours projected on me, you know. But I done went and had counseling and still have a therapist, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to you for that.
Yeah, you know, especially when you come up in a black community, urban setting, you know, my mom just being honest and my aunts and the people that was around, they call that white people shit.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
It's something, because I literally asked every king that has sat on this couch, what are their thoughts about getting a therapist?
Oh, yeah.
And I have gotten so many mixed responses, like, oh, well, not me, I don't need therapy.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am one of those people that I believe that either you need a good mentor or you need a therapist.
I think
you need
both.
a sounding board that's someone that's gonna hold you accountable, but that's not gonna just go along and get along. And the only way you can do that is by having a therapist, someone where it's not nothing in it for them to bullshit you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't necessarily want to use your friends and family as therapists because they're going to give you the worst excuse, or they're going to give you excuse based on their level of experience, which may not be much. So I believe that men, especially black men, they need an outlet. No, you can't always go to your woman and tell them, especially if your woman is not created a safe space for you to be vulnerable enough to even go tell her where you're weak at, because the wrong woman would take that information and use it against you. Same thing, a man will do the same thing too. But for a man, it's like, dude, you know, I was vulnerable with you. I shared this with you because I felt safe. Now I'm not gonna tell your ass nothing else because I'd be damned if you throw my vulnerabilities in my face or hit me with my own triggers. And I believe that in a emotionally intelligent relationship dynamic, you should be able to go to your partner and tell your partner what your triggers are. Not for them to use it as to put their finger on it, but for them to know, to understand that when I do this, or when I say this, when I behave this way, when I take away his autonomy, whatever it is, I'm triggering him. Because a lot of times in relationships, we're triggered, but we don't even feel safe or know how to articulate what that feeling is. So they walk around mad, just big mad for no reason. Either you're going to tell me what you're mad about, or we're not mad about nothing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're not just going to walk around and silent treat me all day. Yeah. Either is you big mad or what? Let's talk about it. But a lot of people don't know how to have that healthy communication in a relationship. What are your thoughts about that?
For me, I needed unbiased opinion. Don't get me wrong, I have a few friends that don't mind telling me, hey, I hear you, but you missed the mark on it. Yeah. But I needed somebody who was just totally unbiased, who I won't second guess, that, like you say, they have something to gain by building allegiance with me, by trying to befriend me. They just giving an honest assessment. Because I was like, hey, yo, am I tripping or is they tripping? Because I'm about to clock out, because it seems like everybody got me messed up right now. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn also is that it was nothing wrong with my standards. It's nothing wrong with how I perceive certain things. It becomes wrong when you try to impose those standards on somebody who may not just be there. They might not have arrived at that place, and they may never will. But it's somebody for them. I'm just not for them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to lower my standards, but I had to learn where and when to apply them, you know, before, because the disappointments is what kind of upsets me. You know what I'm saying? My expectations for people, you know, one of the 4 agreements, you know, we learned that making an assumption, we assume that we're good to people quite naturally. It's going to be reciprocated. And when it's not, we break another one of the 4 agreements and we start taking it personal. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's one of the failures, one of the downfalls in relationships, is because when you first meet somebody, you understand what I'm saying, you take a snapshot of them. You know, you see them in all their awe and glory, right? And that's what you hold on to, is that snapshot, what you see, what you could write down on black and white to make them look good. But then when you realize that what you have is not the snapshot you took, you have resentment towards them because they're not living up to the snapshot that you took. The idea, you idealize this person to be who you wanted them to be, and you looked over who they actually were and how they were showing up. And then sometimes they actually show up as the person that you want, but they're not really that person. What do you think is a good time frame for a man to be able to recognize if a woman is good for him or not?
I don't like to put a time on it. I think we know. I think men know, women know. We overlook some of these signs because we have reservations. Like, we looking at potential. Like, you know, I see what I don't like, but maybe with a little work, and then we take these people on like a project. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, I ain't taking on new projects.
I don't want no more build-a-bill. I'm good.
Yeah. When I go shop for a bike, I want the bike already put together. The one that's on display, I want that one.
Yeah, well, give me that one.
All that sending me home with the box and the wrench, I don't want to do that. I just want it all. I want to go straight home and ride it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't mind danger spotting for the lady that's in my life. I don't mind probably showing her what could be in her blind spot that she might not see, but I don't want to raise grown people. You know, some things is just proper, to me, should be proper common sense. Like with communication, effective communication. So if you see that you're not going to meet the timetable that we kind of put in place, that we're going to go somewhere or do something, communicate that with me. Don't just go missing and my brain's supposed to fill in the blank and say, I guess we're not going to see each other today. I don't want to do that. So if I have to raise you in certain areas like that, then to me, those are warning signs for me. So, you know, I think men and women know in their heart, you know, if this is somebody that I could see myself with. And a young lady told me the other day, she laughed, and I told her, I say, from the very first moment I communicate with a woman. Now, this might sound extreme to somebody. I immediately imagine, can I see myself spending the rest of my life with this person?
Really?
And that might be extreme for some people, but if I'm dating with intentions, if I'm dating with a purpose, now, of course, I'm not fixing next week, hey, you want to get married?
Right.
But from the conversation, from the dialogue, from what I can kind of see on the surface, from what's being presented, I want to know, like, value. So the sex going to come later.
Yeah.
You spend enough time with people, sex coming, so I ain't got to talk under your clothes. I ain't worried about that. Right now, I want to know if you got a brain.
Right.
A super cool one, too. That I can, you know, and things that could be deal breakers, you know, I want to see if they are presented to me now, because it's something I have to find out after we live enough life with each other. So, but for the most part, when I talk to a person, even if the way they talk to their kids, you know what I'm saying, I know if I can actually see myself with this person, because I'm 46. So I think I must always look good for whatever age I am, but I'm not naive and gullible to not know that the older I get, the smaller my dating pool shrinks, you know. So when you're 25 and you have the older women who think they want them a young man, and you have the women that's 22, 23, they still, you know, as you get older, it shrinks, you know. And so
the options do change.
I don't want to give the best years of my life in vain.
Right.
So I don't want to see a woman say, "Ooh, I can get 3, 4, 5 years out of her." No, that's not my thing.
Right.
You know, I want to know, hey man, can I see myself spending the rest of my life with this lady from the very first moment?
Have you had long-term relationships that may have come close to marriage?
Yeah.
And how did you deal with the dissolving of those relationships?
Well, I only had one that was long term like that. And the dissolving part is hard because you spend so much time with somebody that when they not around, that's a big void.
Right.
You know, and now here it is, you trying to navigate through it, trying to find healthy healthy things to incorporate to kind of fill that spot up, because anything can trigger it.
Right.
A smell,
a
song, a commercial, anything.
A restaurant.
You be scrolling your phone and then here come the memories. Hey, who told you to put this?
Yeah, Facebook and they damn memories.
You know? So you actually, with me, I can't speak for everybody else. It was also me having to be gut level honest with me and just being able to say, well, you hurt from this too. Men be reluctant to say certain things like that because of being miseducated coming up. Oh, men don't do this, men don't do that. But at the same time, men is hurt just like the woman is hurt. And if he say he done spent 8, 10, 12 years or something with some woman and you telling me that you don't feel nothing from that, well, I mean, I can't tell you that you didn't. I wouldn't want to argue that with nobody, but I'm going to speak for me. I always like to make our statements. With me, yeah, it was hard to navigate through that. But once the social anxiety have settled in and left, oh yeah, then it's cool. You're able to move forward a lot better. But the social anxiety of being separated from people, the separation anxiety, I mean, when you are separated from somebody, you go through that anxiety part. Once that has been resolved, then yeah, you're able to move forward a lot better.
Yeah. I remember one time my dad told me, he said, baby, give yourself 30 days to cry it out. You can cry for 30 days. As he was changing the locks on my door, he said, but after that, you're done.
Yeah.
On day 26, I woke up. I didn't feel a tear. I didn't feel anything because I allowed myself to just go on and get it out, accept the L. Yeah. It is what it is, you know. And some people come to teach us lessons, you know, teach us more about ourselves because, you know, I was a mother before I was a woman. You know, my kids are about 29, 26, and 21. Lord have mercy. And so, in hindsight, I realized that I didn't even know what I wanted in a man because I didn't know myself. I didn't have enough self-awareness to know what I wanted, what I deserved, how, you know, how to obtain those things, how to be a woman, how to be a wife. Those are things I kind of like learned along the way. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they never learn. They just operate. They just know that, okay, I just want to have somebody to say I have somebody. But they don't really know what they want. That's why you see them, they with this person, or they with this person. There's no common denominator between all of these different people because anybody will do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They
anybody
just self-medicate
will do.
at that point.
Yeah.
They just self-medicate.
But then on the flip side of that, I had PTSD from where I didn't want to. I stayed single for 4 years after that because I was like, you don't really know people till you know people.
Yeah. And when you invest that much time into somebody and that much effort, time, you can't get it back. Money, you can always replace it. My time, man, I be livid when my time I feel like is in vain with anything. And I always like to see anything to completion. I never start nothing that I don't finish. So if I will hang on, I have hung on and still to a certain degree will hold on to certain situations and people longer than I should because I don't want to feel like a quitter. Right. I'm just naturally a fixer. I'm a problem solver. So I don't want to go down as like I'm a quitter. And to a certain degree, I wouldn't want to feel like I failed if we separate and you go get the healing or help outside of me. I'm going to feel like it was something wrong with me. Right. But I had to even much get past that and say, what difference does it make where the healing or help come from? Long as they get it, man. You know,
and I realized that when I had that same stance that you have as far as I love, you know, being a healer, helper, all those things. But I also attracted toxic individuals or people that needed fixing.
Always in need.
And I would go, and basically they would come to me in pieces only to steal my peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't, to no capacity would I really be able to help them, because essentially it's not my job. They weren't my assignment. You know, but I get that. Like, you get somebody and you, especially if you invested time in them.
Yeah.
You be like, man, well, we've been together for a couple of years now, and I don't want my time to be wasted. And maybe if we try this, so maybe if we try that, maybe if we do, it might work for a little while, but then who they are still comes back to the surface. So it's like, is it, what do you do in that situation? That's why the divorce rate is so high. Because I'm one of those people, like, I believe in to death do us part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No one goes into a marriage with the idea of, well, if we ever get divorced, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Nobody want to think about a plan B. But I'm one of those people that I will love you till I die, as long as loving you is not killing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't allow my attachment to you to be the death of me. I have to love me a little bit more to let you go and find somebody else to play with than for me to continue to let you play in my face all because I love you. That's just not, that's not self-love. But when you're dealing with someone that don't have self-love, they can't love you. It's almost like expecting somebody to be honest with you that's lying to themselves. You can't be honest with me. You lying to yourself, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it causes us to have a disconnect in relationships because everybody is so superficial. Speaking of superficiality, what do you think about the digital world? Because now people don't even go out to meet no more. They slide in DMs. How you doing, Papi? You know what I'm saying? Hey, mamacita, let me take you out for lunch. That's like the new, and it almost causes PTSD in relationships because if you have some type of following or social media presence, people don't know. They don't respect your boundaries at home, so they don't care. They'll slide into my DMs 11:30. Man, what's your name? How you doing? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to explain to nobody that I don't know who this cat is in my DMs. So, but that is an issue in relationships. One, you either meet somebody on social media, or two, because of your social media presence, you being accused of who DMing you. You can't control what people do with their message.
You can't control it, but you can control who you entertain.
Definitely that. So, and how you entertain them.
Cyber flirtation and entertaining is still a form of cheating to me.
Yes, it is.
So I don't want to hear nothing about what he was just being nice, and so I blowed the kissy face back, and that's too much for me. And if I'm not here to argue with what you think is cheating and flirt. Hey, man, but it's somebody who think just like me out there. So I don't want to coach you off the ledge. That's not what I'm here to do.
You want to go?
So I like when situations like that or conversations just random come about, so I can actually know who I'm dealing with. Because there's no way to sit down on the first or second date and you have a list of situations and scenarios to kind of see how people think or how they look at things. You just have to live enough life with them.
Right.
And sometimes it can be something as simple as miscommunication that'll make a person respond a certain way that also exposes who they actually are. Like this, so this is you.
This is how you really feel about it.
Exactly. Even though you misheard me or I misheard you, the way you responded lets me know who you actually are. So I like when situations, even if it's the friend, a lady will be talking to you, why such and such told me that her dude came in and he was actually tripping because she was seen talking. So you see how she actually thinks. And so now this is the time to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the digital world, I think it has its pros and its cons with anything. When you meet people, I think it makes a lot of more men stagnant because they don't have the courting skills, I believe, to actually, or the confidence to walk up to a lady, hey, how you doing? My name is such.
That don't even happen anymore.
Yeah, it don't.
And I think that's where the digital age have failed us. Yeah. Because people don't go courting. They go straight from DMs to Netflix and chilling to having sex. They don't know nothing about this person, barely know their last name, or even if the name that they have on social media is their name at all. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, you enmeshed. You done got a soul tie with somebody you don't even like.
I ask people like this. I say, how many numbers do you remember without using your phone? And when you ask them, they be like, I know mine, my mom. That's it. I say, you ever been writing something, typing something, writing it, bro, pretty much writing it, and a word that used to be so common for you, you like, it almost look like it's spelt like this, because you go to type in a few characters on your phone, 15 words that start out with them first 3 characters pop up. So you don't even have to finish spelling. It makes the brain lazy. It makes the mind stagnant. Because you don't GPS. We didn't have that. Don't get me wrong.
I can't go nowhere without mine.
I use mine. I put hella miles on mine. But at the same time, I'll come up in the when you get to make a left, go down.
Yeah.
Even when we used to go to Astroworld, it was easy for me to turn around and tell my partner, hey, remember 2A1. I'm going to remember this other one. Remember 2A1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you get in the car, you write numbers down. That keeps the mind sharp. Even with kids that has dyslexia, they try to encourage them playing Scrabble. It's a word game, of course, but at the same time, the digital world can make the brain stagnant and lazy. Even though it has its benefits, it has its perks. So it's a place for it. But just like anything, you have to have a balance. Too much water is water intoxication. Your body pushes out all the potassium and minerals that it needs, and you become tired and have headaches and stuff. And not enough water, you develop rhabdo. So it's a balance with anything. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what do you think about boundaries? Because I think that, first of all, couples shouldn't be going through each other's phone.
No.
That's a boundary breaker. Because if you're with someone and you feel like you got to go through their phone, that's not your person.
No.
If you feel like you have to share your location with that person to make them feel safe, that's not your person.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that come with boundaries and autonomy. So how do you, as a man, protect your boundaries from women that you may meet that has an entitlement factor to your space?
Oh, no, we get that understood fresh out the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, we going to have them kind of conversations, not necessarily about what they can and can't do, but you have to learn how to put some things on the floor, indirect but direct. Mm-hmm. So
we too old to not be direct.
I'm not fit to do that. And it's stages. If we just meeting each other and we talking and dating, it's not by accident that you might have some times that you don't spend with me because you entertaining somebody else. Nobody, especially me, I'm gonna make an I statement. I can meet somebody today who has the best potential in the world. I'm not fit to call up anybody, hey yo, y'all don't call me no more. Yeah. I'm through with that.
You gotta take a little while.
Off of a possible, I'm not doing that. Yeah. These people have already showed themselves approved. They already done established themselves. So yes, you do have some potential, but I'm not fit to go through you grilling me like I called you yesterday and you didn't answer the phone. Hey man, I'm not standing for no chastising. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I had a life going on before I came in contact with you, and vice versa.
Right.
If I say, hey, what you doing this weekend? You want to hang out? If you tell me, nah, I can't do it this weekend, probably Wednesday or something, I'm not even fit to ask, well, why?
Why? Yeah.
Because I don't want to know the gory detail. What if you say, well, I'm fit to get a train ran on me?
Oh, Lord, not a train.
Yeah. So that's not my business. I don't have the right. So that's what we also need to understand. It's certain things you don't have the right to even much ask a woman that's new. Now, when you go into exclusively dating, I don't necessarily have the right, but you have an obligation to explain certain things to me.
Yeah. That's if you guys have, especially if you're on the same path.
But,
you have the same intention that you building.
You go to, like I say, you go from just regular dating, exclusively dating, and you become exclusive.
Right.
So if we exclusively dating, and I text you at 8:30 or whatever, or called and you didn't respond or didn't get back with me, and the next day go by, you can't just hit me at 11 o'clock. Hey, what you doing? It's pretty outside. Yo, I'm back there at 8:30.
Yeah. What happened last night?
What happened? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that part of communication should always, that's what she should feel obligated, or he should feel obligated to do. I shouldn't have to probe you for that.
Right. Or make that a rule in a relationship, because I think that when you're with the right person that's for you, one, you determine what your rules in the dynamic is going to be. And I think a lot of people, they do this copy and paste thing. They take bits and pieces from their past and try to project it on their present, and then it fall apart. Well, first of all, the last dude you was with or the last female you was with, they like this. I don't like this. It's just like buying a woman flowers. You see it's trending. Social media tell you buy candy and flowers. Well, one, I don't like dark chocolate. And too many flowers, too many days in a row mess with my allergies.
Yeah.
So before you go spend $150 on this flower arrangement, I'd rather you go get me some shoes. Because guess what? They got some Gianni beanies on sale for $110. And I could wear them next month, the month after that, and the month after that. My love language might not be
the same
as the person that you was with, or you might have dealt with someone that have a more shallow approach to things and put value on material possessions. Whereas I'm a sapiosexual. I prefer, how to get me in the mood is to stimulate my mind. And so when I tell people, well, I don't base my attraction off of all looks. Now, don't get me wrong, looks matter. Looks matter. But I don't base everything off the way somebody look, because they could be a whole airhead. And you know from the minute they open their mouth that this ain't gonna be. Because I've been on dates where, when I've been in that, in that little pool out there, I've been on dates where I would sit across from someone and knew from the conversation that I would never sit across from them ever. They'll never see me on this side of the table ever again. And it wasn't that they were a bad person. They just wasn't a fit for me. You know what I'm saying? Their priorities, their conversation, the things that drove them as a person, we just wasn't in alignment. So I don't try to force nothing. I don't try to fake it till I make it. I ain't trying to make you fit into this box of what I think. Ooh, my stomach is rude. The box of what I think a man should be. So let me ask you, how do you define a man? What's a man to you?
A man, the way the world measures a man is by like materialistic things, tangible things, what he have. The measure of a man to me is how far he's willing to go to protect and preserve and provide for his family. That's the measure of a man to me. What he does for a living don't articulate who he is to me.
Right.
I don't give a damn. You have some women that be like, well, my man don't even much give me no money and this and that. And I tell a woman quick, well, he don't like you enough. He can't. He can't. Woman talk about he won't even work and he won't get a job. He's sorry. He don't love you enough. Because I done seen love make a man feel like he can run through a brick wall. You talking about him not having a job, a man who love you go get three. So he can't love you enough.
Or love himself enough if he depending on you.
Well, and the reason why I say her, because women to me grow men up. Women mature faster than men. And before a man learns how to be a man, to me, a woman, unless you have some exceptions to the rule where a man can show another young man on things to do, but the woman is the one who changes his mind with everything. When you have a young man, he have an older, more mature woman. He come over to her house, he eat up the groceries and don't contribute to nothing. Eventually, she have a conversation with him and let him know, hey man, the sex cool and I like hanging out with you, but the lights don't pay for themselves, the food don't pay for themselves. And if he's a student and a good stewardess over his money, he will let her dictate it and he'll say, okay, cool, what you be needing me to do? From that moment on, he have started incorporating being a responsible man. And he'll take that with him. You know what I'm saying? So,
and some men don't even learn that. They are well off in their 30s and 40s because they've had women that acquiesce to whatever their needs were, who maybe didn't have enough self-love, and they mothered these men. You understand what I'm saying? They really became like a second mama. I've been a mama to one before. I'm not going to lie. But I don't want to do that. Like in this big age, I don't want to have to mother a man. I don't want to have to.
No, that's not your job.
Yeah, I don't want to have to raise them, and I don't want to have to GPS them and put rules on them. And I just, this is what I'm going to put up with, this is what I'm not going to put up with. We can't compromise. I'm not a black and white thinker, because I have to realize that we all come from different walks of life. We have different likes, different interests, and I'm not trying to become you, and I don't want you to become me. I want you to still be who you are and let me decide if that's the person that I want to love. Oftentimes in relationship dynamics, people show up as a version of what they think you want, just based on conversation. Because some people will watch you long enough to determine what you like. It's crazy. I used to write to my future husband and all these like scripts on social media. They remind you 7 years ago, And I would basically put a blueprint out there of what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that my post was giving men the playbook to know how to pretend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you give somebody the blueprint of how to play you, then you can't blame nobody but you.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to not
Give too much.
or project what I want. Because sometimes you don't know you want something until you experience it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you might block yourself out of a blessing by telling, oh, I don't like a man that, you know, that do this. Or I don't like a man that do that. And why not? Because the man that did do it was a bad, you know, representation of men that do that. You can't base good partners on small factors.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really dig deeper. And we, you know, I talked about on another show, the high value men. I always hear when the brothers attribute high value men to their pocketbook. It kind of offsetting to me as a woman because that has been something that has been grilled through social media and television programming, that if a man is a high earning man, that makes him
automatically a high value.
And that's not necessarily true. Some of these men are born into wealth, inherited the wealth, or got lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And may have all of the literacy that's required to attain that financial stability, but when it comes to interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence, he lacks those things, which further expresses or explains why he may either be single or can't keep a partner, is because he lacks in the areas that where it really matters as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he got the pocketbook, but he don't have the principles of partnership.
The woman, I think, she's gonna always do better with a man who discovered themselves and learned his identity before he got money. Mm-hmm. Because the security won't be stabilized by if he have. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because some men, if they financially stable, they don't really care about who you're around, because in their mind, you'll be crazy to not to mess over me or to cheat on me from what I'm giving you. Mm-hmm. But the minute that he can't produce and provide like he used to, now he's saying something about the way you dress, where the places you go to, because he's intimidated. He's insecure about this because his security rested in what he had. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, like, I don't knock the guys who go and wear 15 chains and 2 watches on each arm and stuff. That's not my thing.
Right.
You know, my brain is worth 100 Lamborghinis. Yeah. You know, my heart is worth 1,000 Rolexes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to only give what I know I can continue to give. Mm-hmm. Because if that's how I come into the relationship, leading with my bankroll, leading with my wallet, that's what you expect.
And then when the hard times fall, then, hey.
Yeah, and I don't want to be second guessing. I tell women, too, like, I don't want a woman that made me think too much about the wrong things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I feel like that's how I met you, that's the genre that you play in, you always want to be on the scene, even with your friends, you know, because you have more friends that's going to be fans than true friends.
True.
So if the friends is always going to be ushering you in the dark, talk to him, he got money, talk to him, he do this here, he'll do this here. Then whenever you out with them, especially we going through a rough patch, then I expect that. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
I must pick the woman according to how you pick your friends, who you spend your time with, what kind of information that they can actually give you. Because I went to prison in 2005, whatever, got out 2010. But when I made parole, they sent us to what they call a therapeutic community. Mm-hmm. And it's a behavior modification program. You spend 6 months there. And before I went, they always had the reputation of it being a snitch program because they classified as holding everybody accountable in here. Now we hearing the word accountability kicked around so frequently now, you think that people been using it, but it's it's just a term that they really started incorporating here lately. Being toxic, that's a term that they use in therapeutic community. But they have a term that's called punching holes in the program. So I could hold you accountable if I heard you and Mike or something talking and saying, man, this program weak, man, this old snitch program. I can write a slip on you and drop you in the box, what they call, and encounter you on the days that we have encountered. And I put that in the category of punching holes in the program. You talking against a system that works. So I feel the same way when
About
women have certain
relationships,
friends. Yeah. Don't even put our business on the floor with people. I don't go get an electrician to fix my plumbing. So you asking, you putting information on the floor with your friends who not even credible to give you quality advice. So I got a problem with that. Then the information that they do give you, I'm gonna consider punching holes in the program.
I feel like when you overshare with people, that's why it's so important to get a therapist. If you want to overshare with somebody, get you a therapist, because it's not gonna be back at the brunch table on Sunday when you can't make it. Girl, did you hear about what happened to such and such? Get you a therapist, because when you find yourself in a relationship dynamic, right, and you go out with your friends, I know as a woman this has happened to me in my past, or you go and you tell your family, right? You mad, so you really responding from an emotional place. So, mama, let me tell you what this nigga done did, or this, you oversharing. Girl, I ain't fooling with him because he did this and he did that. But then y'all kiss and make up. Y'all go through that little honeymoon phase. Now you want to bring him around, and you wonder why nobody want to speak to him.
Yeah.
You wonder why it's an awkward silence when you walk in the room. You wonder why it's slight, subtle whispers when you walk, because you done went in there and you done made your relationship a target by putting people in your relationship that don't have nothing to do with that dynamic, and that's just something that I don't believe in.
No,
I learned that the hard way, and that was really when I went and told my mama. Once I tell my mama on you, you might as well wrap it up.
Yes, it's no coming back.
Listen, ain't no coming back from me telling my mama. But I had told my mama that, somebody had mistreated me. And after that, homeboy couldn't come around no more. She didn't care how many kids I had by him. He was not, no.
I used to tell my daughter all the time, don't prematurely put nothing on the floor with me. Mm-hmm. Because if the dude you dealing with, he called you a B word or something, don't come telling me that. If you know you're going to have reservations for dealing with him, because when you forgive him, we want, he's still going to have that stigma on him at all times. So when I made a video not too long ago about that. Women and men both do the same thing. They put things on the floor from perception to build an allegiance with somebody. So you know how this person who you confiding in, how they feel about certain things. So say if it was a woman who she's dead set, and which she should be, about verbal abuse. She can't stand for a man to talk to her any kind of way. The minute you go to confide in her, if you lead with, girl, why he gonna try cussing me out of it? You already done built an allegiance with her because she's already against that verbal abuse. Yeah. You done won her over already. She not even much hearing what you done probably messed up anything because, how dare he and
call you out your name.
And so you build an allegiance with people by feeding them what they already take pride in, and then you put things on the floor. But at the same time, it's coming at the expense of tainting his image. You probably didn't admit your role you played in it, or how you contributed to it, and now when he comes around, people know how you feel about him but him. And that's the worst thing you can ever do to your man, is to have other people looking at him a certain way. You done told him a lie but told them the truth but about him.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm real big on that. I don't mind you sharing certain things about our relationship, but I'm a super private person. You know what I'm saying? I don't go running to people with our issues, and I would ask my woman to do the same. Just respect me, because I tell people this, exaggerating the truth or omitting some of the truth is still a lie.
Still a lie.
Because I had a situation one time with a young lady, and we had said that we're gonna lock in, and for 3-4 months we just gonna save money. We're not gonna make no extravagant purchases. We just gonna buckle down. But the money that we saved, was gonna use it to go and fund some business. She come in and she had some shoes or something. Now the shoes was on sale, granted, but you didn't even discuss it. And so somebody might say, well, she shouldn't have to. It's her money. No, but when you're in a relationship, you make a covenant, you honor that, and you have a conversation if you feel like you want to deviate from it. So when I said something about it, I say, I didn't tower in on the disrespect. I just kind of made a joke. I said, man, here we supposed to be disciplined and you out here spending the money.
Yeah.
So, forgot how the conversation went, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But she went and put it on the floor with her friend. And so, I don't know this, but it comes out because we was talking about something and the friend says, girl, you know you better say something and ask Earl about it before you spend some money. You know he gonna have a problem with that. So now
how
I
would
know
she
you
know that?
Exactly.
How would she know
so
that?
I'm fuming.
Yeah.
So now the conversation that we have when the friend leave ain't too pleasant because you made me look like I'm trying to control your money. You didn't probably get a friend a backstory and said we had locked in and was supposed to do something and I spent money. I even told her some sales you can't just pass up, but I would have preferred if you talked to me first. Hey baby, I know we supposed to be, but these shoes, they was $1,200. They only have one size left, so they done discounted. They number 500. It's my size. You think we can? Yeah, go ahead, baby, because I wouldn't want you to miss that.
Right.
But to make the decision without consulting with me, even though it's your money, you broke our covenant. But also to go put it on the floor with your friends or whatever, oh no, I got a whole issue with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just those kind of things. That's a form of submission to me.
And speaking of that, I want to kind of close out the show with this. I have said in the past, on past shows, that marriage is not my goal. And it has been misconstrued and misunderstood. And when I say that marriage is not my goal, does not mean that I don't want to be married, because I absolutely want to be married. I want to have a husband that I could submit and be submissive to and know that I'm safe in doing so. However, in this world we live in, everybody wants to be married but don't want to have a marriage. They want the title, they want the Instagram pictures, they want all of that, but they don't want what comes with it. And so what I want is the emotional intelligence. I want to see how you do with money. I want to see how you do with provision. I want to see how you love yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you treat your family, how you treat your kids, how you treat my kids, how you treat me. And all these are things that you learn in the dating process. And people say, well, I'm not doing this because we're not married. Or I'm not, and that's understandable. You have to have certain boundaries in place that you save just for that special person. However, I do believe that in your dating, even before you find a partner, while you single, in your singleness, you should already walk as a husband or walk as a wife. And then when you get with that partner, and you create a covenant, because that's what it's all about, the covenant. When you create a covenant of an intention of this is who I'm with, this is my opportunity to see if you the person I want to say I do to for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And so in that time frame of that covenant, that's how I can see if we even make sense together. And so I don't put a timetable, because people see you dating somebody for a year or two and like, oh, when y'all getting married? We haven't been through enough seasons. Yeah. Some people go through seasons fast. You know what I'm saying? And then some people can be together for a whole year and never really have a deal breaker moment. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like people say, well, if you love somebody, you'll fight for them. I ain't finna fight for shit. First of all, because if you belong to me, if it's for me, I shouldn't have to fight for it. Number one, because that when you say fight for something, it automatically seems like you're opposing something. You're going against the grain. But if it's for you, you shouldn't have to fight for it. You should be able to communicate what your needs and your wants are. Your partner should be able to do the same. Y'all should be able to meet in the middle. And if you can't, it's okay to go your separate ways. It's okay. I would rather if I meet a man and let's just say he got good potential, you know what I'm saying? But we never crossed that boundary because we've had that conversation. He might be a dope ass friend. I might have a homegirl that's perfect for him, just not for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not that. No, you know, like a man, they be like, oh, my woman can't have no male friends. Well, listen, if she is entertaining men that she know won't take her down, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But I actually have male friends, like real solid friends. I know they wives. I know they kids. They call me Auntie Nay. Ain't never been no funny business going on. You know what I'm saying? So in past relationships, when I would be with men, I always thought that was the perfect thing to do. Like if you got a man, you break up with your homeboys. You ain't got no friends. This your man. But then I would find myself in a toxic situation. I might have to move all my shit. Guess who I got to call?
The male friend.
The male friends. And a lot of times men want to isolate you from your male support system so he have more control over you. That's what my experience was.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear a man say, oh, my woman can't have no male friends, I'm immediately triggered by that. Because why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to isolate me to the point where you completely extinguish my support system?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing with, I don't have a problem with a man having female friends. You know if you knocked her down.
Well,
and she gonna let me know if you knocked her down too. So if you say she your friend.
I think with men, not to cut you off, I have an issue with you trying to keep a line of communication and friendship open with exes.
Yeah.
So a male friend that, we know that's a male friend, you friends with the wife, or even if he don't have a wife or a girlfriend, but y'all cool. I don't have an issue with that. Keeping a line of communication open with an ex, to me, is still, I don't leave room for accidents to take place if I can control them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have issues with you and your current husband or guy or whatever, you going to confide in this person or whatever, and y'all done been intimate, have history or whatever, it opens the door. It leaves the door open for mistakes to take place. So I have an issue with that. Now, a woman who say, well, we still good friends or whatever, then that's where we don't meet in the middle, and we can go our separate ways, because I don't like resistance. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to push over a woman, don't get me wrong. I like a woman who's going to hold me accountable, who's not taking no mess. And hey, I love it. I love a woman who's going to stand her ground. It's a turn on to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's some things that I won't compromise with, because it's some things I'm sorry can't fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with dating, like you were saying, when you marriage is not your thing, that's not the goal.
Because I want to be married.
Yeah, but
what I'm saying, the title is not what I'm chasing. I'm chasing the purpose. I'm chasing I want something real.
Yeah.
I don't care about that piece of paper, because you can go get that piece of paper and it don't hold up to nothing. The storm come and you swept away.
I think I practice what I want to perform.
Correct. If you practice what you want.
It's not necessarily about, well, before I add her on as an authorized user on my credit cards, we have to be married. No, I can be in an exclusive relationship with someone that love them and want to see their credit go up and reflect something cool, that I add them on as an authorized user. Anything that I can do to help. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you actually supposed to, if you're in a committed relationship, you walk as a husband and a wife before you go before God, because I want to know how you going to hold up in tough times before I bring it to God and say, okay, God, I need you to give me your seal. I need you to stamp it on me. But really, I feel like once you commit to someone, you really are already making a covenant with God.
Yeah.
You know
to
what I'm saying?
In my heart, I am. So marriage, to me, is the end goal, but it's a lot of space between A and Z. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I don't, like you say, I don't want to put a timetable on it. Some people experience certain seasons and disagreements fast, so we know where we stand with certain things, even with family. Mm-hmm. I would want to know that even though we're not married, once we start being exclusive, our money reflects us. Mm-hmm. So if you have a mom who want to sit at the corner store and play the fruit games and mess off her check and then lean on our bankroll, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And the minute that you tell me, well, that's my mama, then that's what we separate. Mm-hmm. Because that's a deal breaker for me, because you will let somebody hinder us. You will let somebody, that $300-400 you contributing to her, that could be going into something that we want to do. Right. So your mama is not responsible, and you using the title of that's my family. That I ain't never seen a piece of blood yet that's gonna make me do that.
I always say people always want to be irresponsible with their money. Then when it's time to be responsible, they want to be responsible with mine.
So no, I don't want. We need.
No is a complete sentence.
Yeah,
and I always say that's how you could tell.
And they find other ways. One of my old school partners used to tell me, he used to say, "Booby, you got to learn to tell people no, man." He said, you'll find out that those people who was talking about, if you don't help them, they're going to lose their car, they're going to get kicked out that house, they weren't going to be able to do whatever they were supposed to do. You're going to find out when you tell them no, they're going to find other means. Mm-hmm. He say, and that's called evolution. They find a way to survive.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't really know how a person feel about you until you tell them no. Yeah. It really kind of, they're like, man, you've been feeling that way really the whole time, because I've been saying yes. And sometimes God will put you in a position to where you have no choice to say no, because we have that helper complex. We want to help you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But we can't help you. And I was being a blessing to people that God was trying to teach lessons to.
Yeah.
And because I was the person that would come and bail them out every time they end up buying, God said, since you don't know your place, I'm finna put you through a season of lack, so that way next time they come, you're not gonna be able to help them, and then they'll finally get the lesson I'm trying to teach them. I was like, whoa, that was deep when it hit me. I
went through that with a couple friends. They just wasn't morally upright in none of their dealings, and so when they went through their seasons, I'm trying to render aid, and before you know it, I done had to go through some things in my life for getting and go out of business. That's how I look like, oh, you in my business? Then let me send you through a few things too. But yeah, I think marriage, with me, is I don't think marriage is for everybody. So I will say that. I don't think, as Westerners, we are some of the only cultures where one wife to one husband and vice versa. And it's cool. If that works for you, that's cool. But a monogamous relationship is not for everybody. Now, that's not saying that I want a polygamous relationship. No, I want a wife. I want to soak all my time and seeds into one person.
Yeah, baby.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to be spread it thin, giving this person my time. That's not what I want. But at the same time, if you know that it's hard for you, not necessarily just being undisciplined, not just because you have a sexual appetite that won't be fulfilled, if you know just, I need more than one woman, and only a lot of blacks, I think, look at polygamous as, oh, I get a chance to sleep with two women. That's the only perk they see in it, opposed to, it's a woman that I have for different roles in my life. It's not just some sexual thing.
It's really like a business.
I have to have a relationship with each one of them. We have to, individually. We all have to have a relationship collectively. They have to have a relationship with each other. It's no different than kids. I can't take I can, but you have to give some kids individual attention. So I might have 2 kids, 3 kids. Sometimes I might take all of y'all to do something, and sometimes I'm gonna just take one, because I need a relationship individually with one person. So I think only us, not only us, I don't want to limit it to just black people, because any other race of people can be selfish like that, but a lot of people look at polygamy just as from a sexual standpoint.
And it's really a provisionary. Polygamy is a provisionary factor. It's just like in the Muslim community, when they take on another wife, it might be their brother's wife.
Yeah.
If I have a wife and my brothers have a wife and my brother passes, then I am to take on his wife as one of my wives as a provisionary for her.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's not anything sexual or carnal about that, but it has, you're right, society has changed it, and it really is like a household, a pimp's house.
Yeah.
You know, he have all these women and they going out there getting a bag and bringing it back, and he telling them what to do with it, and all of a sudden he's hollering a polygamist when he hasn't provided anything for any of these women. They're actually the providers, and he's just the one calling the shots. I've seen it.
I think I wake up though every day with expectancy to, like, what's for me is going to find me. I don't have to go look for it. So it's like, I remember when I first learned what serendipity mean. It was a production company, and I forgot what series or show I used to watch, but when it used to go off, that would pop up. And I'm just in a habit, if I don't know a word or see it, I immediately get to Googling it. But it was basically, the definition is finding something that you're really not looking for. You know what I'm saying? So that always stuck with me for over 15, 20 years, that when even the corner store that I go to, the service station to get gas, I'm open and hopeful that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So the most random passing buyer has just as much significance in this world as me, and we can actually build from it. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. If I made a left when I made a left, that's what I was supposed to do. So the people that I encounter on my path, I'm just open to it. I'm not limiting God. I'm not limiting life. I'm not limiting nothing. I wake up with expectancy. So the woman that's for me, I'm not going to go look for her. I'm not going to have to go find her. She's going to find me. We're just going to be on the same path.
You're going to recognize her when you see her.
Yeah.
Like I said, a man that finds a wife finds a good thing.
And
but she had to already be walking as a wife for you to recognize that she is one.
Yeah. I'm not going out my way to like some check off list and all of that. Like, if we just organically develop into that, cool, you know. If not, hey, there's no love lost, you know what I'm saying? But I don't put a lot of stock into every day when I get up, I'm trying to just narrow it down to this is what I have to do.
Like,
Nah.
That's not living, that's existing.
Yeah.
Well, I know I could sit here and I could probably talk to you for hours and hours and hours. Like I told you, I am a fan of your rants when you go on Instagram. Yeah. I like to sometimes, I send them to my sister, I be like, listen how he tell her. So trust me, I know you see all the forwards that people be sharing on their stories and stuff, like, because you be saying some, it's comical, but it's not comical. It's like, it's funny, but it ain't jokes.
And not to cut you off, so that's the thing. So that's my natural habitat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I go somewhere else and they get a different person. You still get the real me, the real version. But at the same time, I know where to be who at. You know what I'm saying?
You adapt to your surroundings.
Yeah, I want to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take me somewhere.
That part.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, if we want to keep in contact with you, we want to follow you, they want to go and hear some of the things, you have an Instagram page as well. What's your Instagram page?
Russian Hitman 1.
Yes, you guys go make sure check him out. He definitely have some words of substance there. And I want to remind you guys that we are on multiple platforms. You can find us everywhere: Stitcher, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Third Coast TV. If you like what you see or you like what you hear, be sure to come and join us over at our YouTube family, Outside the Box with Onney YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, click that bell notification so that you can be notified when we drop a new segment. If you would like to come sit on the couch with me, be sure to submit your EPK to otb.liveshow@gmail.com. One of our casting directors will get back to you. And if you like what you see, you like what you hear, you want to do this yourself, be sure to go to www.onneystudios.com or be sure to call us at 346-491-5315 and become a podcast content creator today. We are waiting on your call. Be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the show. And I want to thank you for just coming and being so transparent. Because, I mean, we probably can go for hours. But I can't keep y'all all night. So I'm so glad that you came and just let me pick your brain. I know everybody don't get that kind of access to you. So I'm grateful to be granted that.
Yes, ma'am.
You
Thank
know.
you.
And I hope that you guys stay plugged in, tuned in, tapped in. We'll be here same time, same place next week. Is there anything that you can say to a king that may be going through a season of self-doubt?
Self-doubt. If you're doing the right things for the right reasons, you're right where you're supposed to be. So nothing is by accident. I always encourage people, go talk to somebody. Process them emotions, man. Get a professional opinion. Or advice or coping mechanism, just tools.
Right.
Yeah, because we all be in dark places sometimes. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for being a bright light in the dark room. I want to thank you guys for joining us on this journey. Once again, see you same time, same place next week. I'm your host, Onney the CEO. You are plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box.